Today, I wanted us to discuss totems and the role of totems when you are doing divination work, because divination work is not just isolated to a bone reading, a card reading. When you are interpreting your own dreams, you are also divining. So we are going to talk about that, and then I have welcome. Dumelang, how are you guys feeling? Please let me know if you can hear me, and if the audio is good. Google it, you can hear me. How is everyone? Gave a thumbs up. All right. So this week has been insane. We have had 5 visitations through the dream unpacking. So these visitations, now we are able to then go into the Dendera properly, so that we can talk about what does this mean, and what are the ways in which you can recognize this, because the whole conversation around totems is for how do I get better at understanding the communication when it comes from Batwabahulu, because they do not communicate using a language. They communicate sometimes they use symbols, sometimes they use some somatic shifts and flares in the body. Sometimes we have the left, which is maternal, the right, which is paternal, and that lets us know where all the heaviness is sitting. So the dream work that we are doing in this container is to show to you what is going on. It is to let you know so that you can see the shift as they take place, because it can be very frustrating to be doing any kind of aligning and then not see the results of that. So today I wanted us to discuss totems and the role of totems when you are doing divination work, because divination work is not just isolated to a bone reading, a card reading. When you are interpreting your own dreams, you are also divining. So we are going to talk about that, and then I have a breathing exercise that I would like us to do. Yes, I knew I was forgetting something. That's the one thing I haven't lined up. And let me put it I just want to put it on the tabs so that it is easy to get to it. Where did I? Yeah, I found it. I'm just going to open the tab up there so that when we want to share the screen, we just click. We're not, we're not going up, down, up, down, up, down. Perfect. Yeah. Great. So yes, that is set up. All right. So here is what we are dealing with today. Let's open it up. Please send a thumbs up if you can see the screen. Yeah, Mpo can see, Google can see, Madao can see. Okay. Oh, beautiful. All right. So yes, today I want us to talk about where do these things sit when we are doing celestial unpacking, because you guys will be working a lot with this. So this is what it actually looks like. What you have in front of you now is the Dendera sky map. This thing is on the sky, and then the sky map lets you know like different lineages are linked with different totems, so that it becomes easier to understand that when this communication comes in, what is it, what does it look like, and who and what are you actually dealing with. So yes, so now what you are looking at is a sky map designed to read cosmological time, cyclical ascension, and non-physical movement, ancestral movement. Now, if you look over there, you'll be able to see, and this is not the original one actually. The original one, when you go on Wikipedia, you'll see it's very difficult to read. This I'm going to use just for a demonstration purposes. You can see where the animals are. You can see the lion right in the middle, and it also looks exactly like a birth chart. If you've ever seen a birth chart, right? Yeah. If you've ever seen a birth chart, yes, perfect. Let's use this. Here. Okay, so now modern astrology, you guys know, it's based very much on personality archetypes. That the Taurus, where was the sun at the time of your birth, and just based on where the sun was, this then tells you that, okay, so this individual, this personality, this ego, this is what we're dealing with. The Taurus, the Virgo, the Libra, the Scorpio, all of them are based around the sun. So this one is with, while Egyptian cosmology, they use a different cosmic system, because for them, astrology is not a straight line from 1 up to 12, like 12 zodiac signs. For them, it is circular, where everything is circular, where time is not linear. Everything is just a spiral like that. Because if you look at it, you will see that it is a spiral going from the top and going all the way down. So those are the different neterus, the different neterus, and how they impact you as a human being. Now, when we are tracking, when we are doing body tracking and astral tracking, which is what we've been doing through the vault, it also helps me to see that, okay, so Bajimuba Pam, this is where they are. Bajimuba Neteru, this is where they are. But sometimes even with things that they want you to know, they will let you know through the actual dreams that this is the level that a person is at. When certain activations are happening, they show up inside of the dreams. So that is astral tracking. And then the somatic part at the beginning, at the bottom, that one is for body tracking. So far we are not going intense into the body tracking, because we are just focusing on just the somatics, that this is how I'm feeling, this is what it is linked to. Is it on my right? Is it on my left? All right. Learning how to listen to the body more, learning how to hear the body more, because the more you can hear your body, the more you can hear them. You'll be able to understand that, okay, this is what is being communicated and this is what is required for me in the moment, that this is what is required for me right now. Yes. So dreams, visions, nocturnal visitations, and sudden somatic shifts let you know that, okay, you are leaning it. You are leaning it. The reason why this part is so important is because if you are going to do divination work for yourself or for any other person, your accuracy depends on the connection that you have with your ancestral guides. Your accuracy depends on the connection that you have with your ancestral guides, because they are the ones that are then facilitating that. They are the ones that are then saying, okay, fine, subconsciously, we are going to make this available to you. We're going to make that available to you. And that's why the dream tracking is so important now. So yes, so we are looking at that circular matrix over there. So always remember that symbols and archetypes in the dreams, there are gateways to different things in different spaces. And as a person, you will always have more than one or two totems. There will always be a lot. The reason for this is because Batsadibawana aren't the only ones. So you may have Ngubeni on the maternal side, Malama on the father's side. Your father has Sotobe and Mukwena somewhere. Your mother has Ungelengele and like there are different types of Ngelengele, and also has Umandlazi somewhere. And then there's Umachola somewhere. Great. So sometimes the understanding of what is active and what is muted is just so that you can understand that where is the biggest influx coming in from me. Because sometimes you get a totem that is like 5-6 generations above, ahead of you. And then when this totem comes through, you will not expect it, because then you're thinking, but where do I connect with those people? Only to find out that 6 generations above you, you have Machola in your bloodline. So it's important not to be rigid when you are dealing with totems. And I love and appreciate that you guys understand that the dream work we're doing inside of this container, it's not for definitive answers. You are not looking for a definite answer. Yes, that's the answer. That's what they're saying. What you are using that dream vault for is to extract the symbols. That what's the symbolic communication here? Hutua, what is being said? You are stripping the same way that you did with the cards. Remember, in the first month of the cards, what we did was we just looked at the symbolic meaning of each card. We put Uranus up there. What does Uranus look like? What is it saying? What is it linked with? You guys are like, oh, okay, no, I see this. I see this. I see that. That was you tapping into subconscious memory, simply because the pictures, music, sound, images, pictures, images, they are the language of the subconscious mind, which is why totems are able to come through even when we are astral traveling and we can understand what is being said. And it's such a beautiful, mystical thing, because then you are understanding that that access to the celestial stuff, it's not somewhere out there, it's actually internal, it's within. And when you go within, you're able to connect with that. So yes, so in the astral plane, communication is not verbal, it is geometric, it is circular. All right. So the falcon, the hippopotamus, the serpent, the lion. So when you look at the Dendera Zodiac, you will see that the different animals are located at the different places. And I mean, it's not very odd, actually. It's not that odd because even inside of Western astrology, you will find that Aries is linked with the ram. There's always like a certain animal that is linked with a specific zodiac sign, although that hasn't been focused on a lot. I personally think it's because they didn't quite know where to place this and what does this have to do, because the totems have to do with the astral field and traveling in the dreams. And that's something that Black people have been doing for centuries. So yes, so those are frequency communication because the Dendera maps exactly that. So there are different sections there in the sky that pinpoint where energy is coming from. That is it coming from the left? Is it coming from the right? So that you can understand, even if it's like 3 generations ahead of me, who are they? The people who you know, they will come as their themselves. Your father will come as himself when there are visitations that are happening. People you know will come as themselves. But baholo pao, those people who existed before you were born, they are going to show up in totem form. Because why? We have a way of ignoring people we don't know. And as if you don't know a person, you just carry on. It's like the color of a wall. Like you don't wake up and remember that, oh, you know, and the walls were white. Who remembers what color the walls were? Because it's such an insignificant thing that the mind has a way of canceling that information out to say, this is insignificant, this is not it. So we're just going to focus on the things that are important. So when people show up that you are not familiar with in the dream, you just say, oh, I saw a stranger, this stranger. See how disrespectful that is. Oh, Kibone, there's this man who's just sitting over there in a green couch. I don't know what his deal was. Or there was a woman who was just fela. It's quite impersonal for them. So this is also the other reason why a lot of guardians, they show up as celebrities in the dreams. You'll see celebrity, you'll see Cardi B. Oh, hey, Cardi. Because why? We feel that closeness with celebrities. We feel that affinity. We have that parasocial relationship with them that makes us feel like we know them. And so they mirror that because with family, that's the same thing. That there are people in your bloodline that you don't know about, but you've heard about them. That's celebrities. There are many celebrities we've never met, but we've heard about them. We've heard the legend of Miriam Makeba. Oh, Miriam Makeba. We've heard the legend of Winnie Madikizela Mandela. She was fighting for freedom. We feel close to that because we know the narrative and we know the story. So sometimes show up. Yes, Kukuletu.
So,
So
Lisa, how are you?
Siapila.
Um, I just want to know why. Okay, so I've had the celebrity um appearance more than quite a few times. And I guess I think it confused me because I was like, why am I dreaming about these people I don't know? So is there not a way where your ancestors can show up as themselves, but like in a way that they make you realize that you know them, if that makes sense? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Where
I feel like,
they if they
yeah,
can
you're
doubt, oh, here's the history of me and you.
mm,
Why does it need to have an external person?
like why do they show up in celebrity form and not
Yes, yes,
as
yes.
themselves? So the reason for that, mostly when you're dealing with because your gift is very different from your gift is very interesting because it makes it so that you can travel in ways that other people cannot, which is interesting. But nakona, when agoko isipho sakho, Black people are people of the stars. So being people of the stars, we are you know, we are people that have a different access to the celestial and the cosmic stuff. So when they are trying to show that we are people of the stars, they cannot show up as the version of themselves they were before they ascended. Because when you transition, you leave your form la emhlabeni, you become something completely different. You are no longer lo uguguletu esmazio. Now you are a star, and you're literally a star. So if you are going to show up epupenlami in that form, my brain is not going to understand what that is. There really is no reference for who they are in the physical world. So for them to show us who they are, they will take a description of a star. Because when we talk about Rihanna, we talk about Chris Brown, we talk about these people, we're talking about stars. They are celebrities. Nelson Mandela, we think of him, we think of a star, right? So the subconscious mind is just a place of habit. It's a place of symbols. So they take the symbolic thing. For example, there's another woman, she is basically umbola. She has umbola on the maternal side. So you know that they are very milky, very beautiful. They are very, um, what's the word? They are very beauty oriented. All of them. It's just a genetic thing with them. And she was like, it's so strange that every single time they show up, they will show up as specific celebrities to show a specific thing. So all you need to remember is that they are just trying to show us physically something that we don't really have the capacity to understand because we're in physical bodies. So we can't even see them in the form that they are in now. We wouldn't know what that is. You see. So that's why.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Google. So yes, and then the other thing about dream work is yes, is that it helps us to identify whether a visitation is a routine subconscious clearing, norma. It is a kind of a cosmic realignment because there are many things that are happening. A visitation doesn't always just mean, you know, they're like, oh, we're gonna go and visit Ugugu. Oh my, we haven't spoken to her in so long. Let's just go down, you know, in our regal royal star people thing, just go down to Valashan. Sometimes they come because they are setting certain things right. And you will know sometimes that you are dealing because the ones, yes, here's an important distinction. Here's an important distinction in figure management. The celebrities and the people that show up that we are familiar with, these are now beings who have existed, who have walked this earth. Now, when you are dealing with just a spirit, for example, we are then talking about Umdao, for example, and Umnono. They may be linked to people, but they are not people, right? So now, if it is an energy from the waters, that's when you will see an amphibious totem like a serpent, a python, a crocodile, because they are trying to show you that this is who we are. Now, the avian totems, the falcons and the hawks, that's just a part of nature that is not human. It is an energy that a person has access to, but it is not particularly human. So we're going to talk about it here on the sky map so that you can see it. So yes, so whatever happens above usually reflects below. And that's the reason why when we are tracking what's happening in the astral, and then we are also tracking what is happening somatically in the physical body, because there's always a somatic shift that will let you know that something has shifted, as above, so below, right? Left side maternal, right side paternal. Left side is receptive, right side is active. And now some of the somatic indicators when you are receiving an upgrade, especially after a particular dream or a download has been had, the somatic indicators: chills down the left arm, heaviness in the left shoulder, sometimes there's a tingling left ear, a tingling of the left ear. And when there's imagery that is happening left side in the dreamscapes, you know that, okay, so I'm dealing with maternal information here, signals coming from the maternal line, right? And then when you're dealing with paternal, the somatic indicators there are heat on the right side of the face, tension in the right hip, the leg, sharpness, like it's like side pressure here. You know that these are signals coming in from the paternal end. All right. So for me personally, my maternal side is a mess. I'm always getting somatic flares coming from the mother's side, not so much. The paternal side is not exactly very active. Yes, Mpo?
Coco, so my left side also has been very active. But I've noticed the ear, if I got there's something inside.
That is the most annoying thing. And then you can't do anything. You
No.
fire, you do all of these things. And the reason is because it's not even a physical thing. You can hear that energetically when there is something. And so much so that when I know but when we're not listening, when they feel like they'll say that's why it's a yeah, that's why. And I'm like,
Okay, so I keep my mail.
that is, you know, and then they'll say, no, but if you have a thingy, disturbing, it means you're not listening. But with you, with the tracking that we've done with you, I think that they prefer the ear a lot because you respond to it. The other parts of the body, I think they stray away from, because then we are so panicked as human beings, especially Black people. When there's something, it's a halang, you think you're having a stroke. There are certain things that when they happen, we start to feel like, hey, I'm sick now. Like I'm really, really sick. So I kind of understand why they choose the subtle things, because the body and the spirit is not separated. And one of the hard things about doing dream work or real dream work is that it's not a fluffy thing. It's not fluff. It's not this wonderful, great thing. And then that there are no difficulties and things that get in or come in the way. So yeah, so most of the times when different spirits interact, they don't always communicate in modern human language. They use totems, they use minerals, they use symbols, they use emotions, sometimes how you are feeling. All right, you will feel something. So totems, they act as a bridge between the Dendera, the sky map, and also the communication of the body, what's happening there. So I have made notes of 3 things here. That what is it that we actually look for? What are the things that you look for? What are the things that you want to pin down or pull out when you are when you are unpacking your own dream? So there are actually 2 things here. The first one, when a specific animal approaches you, because the animals now, those are like more deities. Those are more consciousnesses that are above our human. It's not a human being. It's above that, little bit above that. So now, when you are dealing with a celebrity and a human being, then you know I'm still dealing with a person. But when you're dealing with an animal, the totem is just the presiding deity or energy overlooking the bloodline. So you want to ask, where did it appear? What did it land? Like, where did it land in the body? Upon waking, did I feel pleasant? Did I feel unpleasant? Did I feel unsettled? Did I have chills? Was I afraid? Was I calm? Because if you are calm, you know that that's an ally. That's an ally. That's an ally. It's important because sometimes other people's energies come towards you, and that never feels good. So when it's not your own, you will know it because you're not going to be feeling good. So translating the symbol then. So if an ancestral force uses a bird of prey like a falcon, then you know that now you're dealing with the upper parts of the Dendera Zodiac and then the lower parts here, exactly like in a tarot spread, where the upper parts, they deal with the celestial, and then the lower parts, they deal with the physical. Were inside of the 6-week thing, and you guys, we have explored how the upper parts from the throat, third eye, crown, here, this is higher nature, connects you with the celestial. And then the ones down here, the survival centers. So that's the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the heart chakra, the root, the sacral, the heart, all 4 of those are then what we then call the survival centers. This is lower nature, this is higher nature. So you see it inside of a tarot deck, because even in tarot, we have major arcana and lower arcana. Lower arcana is here. These elements where you are dealing with the physical, visible, material world, the elements, the what's happening in a person's physical life. And then up here, you are dealing with the major arcana. So that's what it is here. Now, I want you to see how this is so similar to a birth chart. And let's look at what a regular birth chart looks like. Let's go. Let's open the next tab. Okay, I think this is the one. Yeah, you see elementally similar elements there, where you've got houses and then you've got the 12. You've got the 12 zodiac signs there. You've got Aries, you've got Gemini, all right?
I just want to ask, Uguti, can you be sent to different people for different purposes? So it's not just one person also, I don't know, is gonna teach you everything that is about your gift, but they'll teach you an aspect, then you'll have to go somewhere else to learn something else, and then something else.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it sounds frustrating at first, but this is the reason why you are getting good with the dreams, so that your communication with them is direct. Because sometimes you don't really have to go all over. But because we have different ancestral guides that have different things, then there'll be Lestunia that wants you to deal with it in a traditional manner. Then you have to go down that path. Or then you have beings that are like, listen, we want you to stay stuck on this. This is it. And then they're happy with that. The only way you will know for sure is Lama Papa Wako. Because let's be honest, your dreams should be front and center. The dreams are the things that then let you know that, okay, I'm on path or I'm not. I'm moving in the right direction or I'm actually not. So, yes, we have touched on the earth, the water, the fire, the air, right? We earth, water, fire, and air. 4 elements above, 4 elements down here. Now, even with the totems, you get the same alignment because the avian totems, the falcons, the owls, those types of totems, your A, right? So you have your heart, your head, those are A. And then you have your water totems. The water totems, those are the amphibious ones. The amphibious ones, they live on land, they live on water, they live on land and underwater. So your crab, your frog, your hippopotamus, your python, your crocodile, those ones are the ones that are usually associated with abantu bomoya, someone who then has to translate and understand what's happening metaphysically and energetically so that other people can understand that, okay, so this is what is happening there. All right. And that's the other reason that abantu bomoya are usually so crazy. If you guys have seen anything about Ubab Credo, Ubab Credo was, oh guys, this man was walking around with his artwork all over his body. People didn't consider him to be sane.
I loved him so much.
Right? He's
Yeah.
amazing. And people didn't think he was sane because they were like, hey, because he wasn't here most of the time. He has 1 foot on land and then he has another
And then,
foot.
yes.
Yeah. What were you saying, Googs?
I was just saying, I was repeating what you were saying. It's like 1 foot here and another foot kind of not here. And when I watch his videos, you can kind of tell he's sometimes not here with us. Like he was just in another plane, but he was explaining everything. And yeah, I always kind of like, yo, okay.
I just
This is
love it because now you're like this. Guys, ladies, do you guys remember the first time we connected? Paul is laughing because she knows. Ladies, do you remember the first time we got together and Google was just sounding high on drugs? Do you guys remember?
Oh, and it probably got lost.
You were sounding so high on drugs. Yes, Paul?
Even now, she's still doing it.
It just be floaty, like I'm here, but I'm not really here. I'm here, but not fully, right? So yeah, that's the thing with Moya is yes, Paul?
Sorry, wrong hand up.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to add something else in there. Because Moya, it's like for other people, we look insane. We look like we're not grounded. We look like, girl, what are you talking about? Because physically, you are present, you are there. But mentally, energetically, you're somewhere else. Like, and I think it becomes more apparent, before my grandmother passed because she had dementia. So she would see, but people who weren't. And I think that was the thing that where my distrust of the Western things came from, because then we would be told that she's sick, she's crazy, she has a disorder. But at the same time, she's telling you factual things that, hey, that is so and so, this and that, and you're like, and we know that before you leave, they all come through, they come to fetch you, and you're chilling with them. And me and my uncles are just sitting there, like, hey, but so and so, this and that, and all of the things she's saying are factual. They are real people, children of hers that had passed. She, at the time, she didn't know that her eldest daughter had lost a child, had terminated, because she was like, I have enough children, 3 years, more than enough. More babies. Around that time was when she then told her, listen, your new child. Then they was like, the one last year, December. She was she was shocked because she's like, I have never told anyone. She was like, I have never told anyone that I terminated. And then when she's back to her normal mind, she doesn't remember any of that. For what?
December. It's not last year, December. Why does Coco remember that?
And the funniest part is she didn't even remember it. That for me was the shocking thing, because when she was sober and she was back to herself, she had no idea what we were talking about. But when she was in the zone, and it felt like she was emoyeni, uyantanda, somewhere. Then she knew all the information. She'd tell her that I can see your baby, your new child. And she's like, which new child? The one had in December. Although she said she was had in December, but I guess terminated in December. Um, so yes. I wonder if you guys have any questions in terms of the totems, because there isn't really much. Um, there isn't really much that I've put in the notes here, because I was hoping we could have a conversation about it. That with the dream unpackings that we have done this week, are there certain things that you guys would like more clarity on? Is there questions that you guys have? Is there questions that you guys have? And when it comes to your personal totems, do you have a full understanding of what's going on?
You know, I would say something, but I want you guys to say something before me. Then ngizovalangan.
Chubeka kuku, chubeka
Ah?
sacabanga.
Please.
Hi everyone. I'm here. I was just thinking. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. So I was just thinking back to my totems, because ordinarily when I add my dream notes or when I enter my dreams in there, I put the 4 surnames, the 2 from my maternal and the 2 from my paternal. And you've actually done a great job of just highlighting the ones from my maternal. But I'm not too clear on the paternal side. I think it's dug deeper. So I now know my mother's grandmothers, both of them, which is now creating a bigger web of totems that I need to, or that I feel I need to understand. And I've also understood on my father's side as well what his grandmother's surnames are. So it's like just trying to remap the family tree and just understanding how those totems are playing out in my life. So when you made sense, when you try to unpack to say, okay, so there's dominant ones and the ones that are like latent, if I may put it that way. So how does one identify which ones would be dominant? So is it whether you were born out of wedlock, or was it, or do we look at conception even?
We need those questions. This is exactly what I was waiting for. So the with you personally, it becomes easy to see that what totem is the most active based on the element. So we have established a strong water presence. The water spirits of your lineage are very active and they are very prominent. Now, when it comes to the question of the salalapeng, wanalapeng, out of wedlock, in wedlock, it is a just when, because when ancestral guides talk about marriage, they're not talking about love between two people. That, oh, Sbongile and the husband love each other, so we're going to marry them together. So when they talk about marriage, they are talking about 2 lineages coming together. Because before you have been brought into another person's lineage through marriage, you are still in your maternal lineage. So that means that you are downloading, when you are, the information you are downloading into your amniotic matrix are people from your maternal side, all right? Because it would be very odd for you to have a child now and then that child is Rihanna's ancestors. Like, how does Rihanna's ancestors connect with me? You see? So when you are downloading spirits, you are downloading spirits that are coming, if you are, before you are a married woman, you are downloading mostly from the maternal side. So that's the energy you are pulling from. Now, when lobola happens, it becomes that intention of we're going to bring the families together, because the men need the woman for life to happen. So now, once, okay, lobola is done, and then there's a process of officializing to introduce that she is now part of our clan. When that then happens and you move from your maternal ancestry to your matrimonial, the marriage one, the downloading of the energies is no longer just from your mother's side only. So you are bringing spirits that are coming from the paternal ancestors as well. So this then makes the totem conversation complex, because now it becomes a thing of my children are going to have my DNA, but they also have the DNA of their father. And because they were had after we married, they've got access to that. Because if the marriage happened before, if they were had outside of wedlock, you were downloading from your maternal matrix. So those children are more governed by the maternal ancestors, the water guides, the what. If you marry into a Bak, a Kudu clan, then the children had inside of that, because a marriage is an agreement to say, we would like you to please extend us, multiply us. And that is the reason why for a marriage to happen, the man is the one who ulethi inkomo, brings the cows, brings everything to say, listen, this is our offering. Siyakhanyisa. Sikhanyisela because sizophiliswa la. We're going to be multiplied, we're going to be expanded. And now, once the maternal receives that, the agreement just means that whatever children are had inside of this union, we are going to split it. Paternal, download paternal, download maternal, download paternal. But now, culturally, it has been done in such a way that because when you marry, you come into the fold of another ancestral line, you immediately leave yours, right? You immediately leave yours. And it's usually not an issue because there are always other family members. Now we understand why back in the day, the Abumkulu would stress the boy children the most. That, yeah, uzovusa umuzi kababa, uzovusa umuzi. And uzovusa umuzi because as a man, culturally, you're able to bring people into the bloodline. And then the women that you bring, they multiply that name. And it's not just the surname, guys. I hope you are hearing this. It's not just that they are multiplying the surname, they are bringing the spirits of those people. They are keeping them alive. They are keeping them alive. And that's why certain ancestral guys, they fight so much when a child is using the surname of the wrong man. Like, the guy has not done right. He hasn't honored, he hasn't what? Because then for them, it feels like, but that's a crime because now you are allowed to live inside of our house. We could be multiplying us. We could be bringing more of ourselves onto the planet. But Sileta Nina, you guys are the ones that we are bringing into the planet. And on top of that, China, we fetched from this is our people. This is our lineage. And Nina Nibiza Leomdan with an ancestral name, a lineage that's not even the child's. So it becomes disrespect on so many levels. And it just shows how deep that our African spirituality is not, it's not fiction, guys. It's not fiction. This is real. This is blood. This is skin. This is what calcium is coming from where.
Because I had to go to that and it was not pleasant at all.
Yeah, it's not only you, Kuku, don't worry.
Thank you
It's
for
not
I
only you.
appreciate it.
I wanted to ask, Nesh, I'm not sure if I'm audible. So the recognition of Lenyalo from on the ancestral plane, is it okay? My question is, now I'm battling to formulate my question. If there was no marriage, there's two questions. Let's start with no marriage. If there was no marriage and a bahlawutsi, does that equate to now receiving particular downloads from the paternal sides because they have done what was secondary to first best, which is marriage, because marriage couldn't happen. Then the second one is what happens in the case where, I think Sibongile mentioned it, in a case where the child is considered out of wedlock, but then lobola was paid before wana ahlaha. Then wana o ofola underway because because malobola ansithu. But now we are not together, so isn't that going to cause confusion?
Yeah. Oh, I love those two questions. Thank you for those two questions. So the first part, I want to contrast it with, because the whole concept of marriage, I want you guys to not see it as the big ceremonious white wedding thing. I want you to see it as this is just an introduction. And so what then happened is you are like, listen, I'm just going to introduce you to my people. It's not so much that Habatsibi or anything. It's just a classification thing to say, I acknowledge. And by doing that, so that it can, join, connect with everybody. You didn't have to sign anything, go home affairs to do that. You didn't have to pay to do that. You didn't have to do any big and call the entire family to do that. It was just a thing between you, Badim, Lebat. And that process was received so well that you started getting the confirmations in your dreams as well. That in Tomalangwa it's amazing. Right. Now, hanging on to that, going back now to the conversation, that what happens if then a child is conceived? Lobola has been received, right? Lobola, if damages have been paid and this and that. Does the child then belong to that side, or is it, what is the case then? Now, this is where a lot of us, and I say us because I'm a person who has suffered greatly because of those types of confusions, guys. It's been insane. So the process of let's talk about intlawulo, right? lobola and marriage are, I have the intention to blend two families so that we can become one family. Yabo? I'm taking her as a wife so that we can build the family. Inkawulo and damages on the other side, sometimes it's interesting because the intention is I want to, like I want the child. I don't want the mother per se, but I'm paying damages for Resinze and Realutisa. Now, in that case, damages are still able to be received to say, I'm respecting that this family has put their, but this is my child. This is my child. I'm responsible for this. And I'm just acknowledging that this is the situation. But I want you to notice how that process is mechanical. It's like signing a home affairs, right? Because then we have a traditional marriage, which is the two families come together and they become one thing, right? And then there's a signature physical world marriage, which is Batuba Saina, and that's just a legal thing. The legal thing has nothing to do with ancestry, because you can be legally married, but ancestrally they don't even know who the husband is, right? Because you didn't really involve them. It's not something that has anything to do with them. It's your own thing. That is where a lot of the confusion comes. Now, if the child is born and the lobola in situ, but then we haven't yet formally married. And when I say formally married, it just becomes that introduction where the husband says, this is my wife, Bajumubaka, this is my wife, I take my wife, we are starting a family. Okay. Don't think of it as the marriage thing, because that's why I'm using the example of your ceremony, where it was just a simple introduction that we have brought two worlds together. That's now, if a child is born and that process has not been done, but lobola yona in situ, you understand that these families have already been combined. So that child is going to have access to both paternal and maternal. But if the child was born before, and somehow in between that, then the lobola happened and then wana wahlai, that's still okay, because then it means there's access. Because the muted, here's the difference with the totems. The muted totems are the totems that are there, but you don't have access to them. You don't have access to them. Let's say, for example, my father, I don't really have a relationship with him. I don't have any connection with him. And let's say he didn't acknowledge me as his child. So therefore, his ancestral guides, as much as they know me and I have their DNA, but they don't have that side can still be muted. It can still be quiet. So it's there, but it's not active. Like when my dreams, everything's coming from the maternal. The thing that I said at the start of this session right now, that the maternal side, this side is the one where all the flare-ups happen and all of this. The side is muted because as much as they are there, but they don't, out of respect, they don't have the right to claim, because Moya that is in my body actually was downloaded from the maternal, not from the paternal. Just let me know, guys, if this is making sense. I don't want to confuse you guys. And
So ngwana o lobola intshitswe ngwana wa tlhaga, but I'm not introduced into the family because we broke up. However, ngwana is introduced by the grandfather to the family. That is still acceptable, right?
Yes, it is. It is very acceptable.
Yeah. It's kind of acceptable, even though they don't have so much power over me, over the maternal side of the family, based on Plompo. Okay.
100%. 100%. So just see it as two different sides of the same coin. One coin is the status of my birth just lets me know what I have access to, right? Now, the conditions of my birth, what happened before I am born, just tells me what side am I coming from? Meaning that if I am from the maternal, I cannot that are on the father's side, because my energy comes from the mom's side. You know what I mean? I was downloaded from the mom's side. Had they been connected, then I'm downloaded from the father's side. What happens if we didn't do the customary things before the child was born? Mara, we did them while the child was being born. That spirit is downloaded from the maternal side. So not to confuse the two. One is what way, that's it. And then here now with the worldly things, which sometimes don't matter a lot, because you can still receive communication from either side, whether this stuff has been sorted out or not. This stuff is just some acknowledgement stuff, because we are Black people and respect is everything. And you can't enter really a room and you don't greet everybody. Imagine someone entering here and then they just go straight to talk to the person they came. We don't really consider that as the right way of doing and being. So this part shouldn't stress you out. The only thing you should be worried about is my status of birth just tells me that my spirit, which side was it downloaded from?